Have you ever wondered what the media is like in other countries? Is it as bad there as it clearly is here? You don't need to travel the world to realize that the answer is probably no. The media in most countries is inherently patriotic. They root for their own country, and that's reflected in their coverage. This doesn't happen everywhere, of course. It doesn't happen all over the world, but it really doesn't happen here in America either. Why isn't our own media, the legacy media here in America, pro-America? Why does the legacy media here continue to be America last? Donald Trump is riding a tremendous winning streak right now. We say that objectively, but instead of reporting on that in a balanced way, the legacy media here in America instinctively look to cover whatever the story is in a way that it makes them sound like they hate their own country and Donald Trump. Donald Trump just negotiated a 15% tariff deal with the European Union, who also happens to be our biggest trade partner in the whole wide world. And that's historic. It's going to mean billions of dollars for the U.S. economy. And we don't say that because we're pro-Donald Trump. We are. We say it because it's the truth. But the legacy media don't see it that way. Or maybe they know it's the truth, but they certainly don't cover it that way because they are rooting for Donald Trump to fail. And they're rooting for America to fail. Axios with this headline: in the Trump-dominated global economy, the U.S. gets plenty, but gives nothing in return. Like somehow the U.S. getting plenty is a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing for the U.S. to get plenty? Why do we not want the U.S. to get the best possible deal for the U.S., right? No? Did I miss something? I'm sorry, but I don't care what kind of deal they get in Estonia or Lithuania, which both, by the way, are EU countries. I care about the kind of deal that we get here in America. But instead of reporting that Donald Trump is winning on tariffs, the same tariffs you all told us were going to tear the economy apart, instead of reporting the truth that these tariffs are actually going to be a very good thing for the economy, it was the same thing from CNN. Trump's EU deal averts disaster, but few are cheering. Oh, boo-hoo. CNN. At the New York Times, it was Trump and the EU have a blueprint for a giant trade deal, but is it good for Europe? Is it good for Europe? Who cares about Europe? Seriously, who cares? The New York Times is an American paper. How about, is it good for America? What's wrong with asking that question? Why does anyone care about what kind of deal they just got in Slovakia, another EU country? I care about the deal that we got for America. This is why Donald Trump won in November. The vice president even tweeting that the entire European press is now singing the president's praises right now, amazed at the deal that he just negotiated on behalf of Americans. But tomorrow, the American media will undoubtedly run headlines like Donald Trump only got 99.9% of what he asked for. And the VP is absolutely right. That's what has happened. The legacy media to continue to cover this story and this president like they're not only rooting for him to fail, but they're rooting for America to fail. What about Europe? What about Europe? How about what about America? And there's only one person right now on the left that seems to get this. Take a look.
I remember along with probably most people, was saying at the beginning, oh, you know, by the 4th of July, somebody had to think how the country was, the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me, but that didn't happen. The stock market is at record highs. I know not everybody lives by the stock market, but I also drive around. I don't see a country in a depression at all. I see people out there just living their lives. And I would have thought, and I got to own it, that these tariffs were going to sink this economy by this time, and they didn't.
Yeah, they sure didn't. You ever heard somebody say that alcohol can be like truth serum? During that podcast, Bill Maher will have a couple drinks and smoke a cigar, and all of a sudden, things make perfect sense, do they? Common sense seems to return. I wonder if it's like that for every Democrat. But because Democrats don't seem to realize that Donald Trump is doing a pretty good job. No president's perfect. We know Joey wasn't perfect. He wasn't ever perfect. He wasn't ever even good. He wasn't ever even okay. Donald Trump's doing a pretty good job right now. That's why Democrats are losing. That's why every poll that comes out looks worse for Democrats than the one before. And we'll get to the latest polling in just a moment. We have a lot to cover tonight. But Democrats, almost by charter, and their friends in the legacy media, they don't want Donald Trump doing things that are actually good for America. Democrats are America last, and the legacy media is just last. Forget about America last. And they remind us of that every single day. Frankly, we don't know how people watch this stuff on a daily basis. I watch CNN because I need to know what they're saying. I don't watch it because I like it, and I don't watch it because it's depressing. And the people that we talk to, people that I talk to, they want good news. They want the truth. But when the news is good, they want to hear about the good news. And it should be okay to be happy when something good happens for America. And that just happened. But the Boston Globe, my goodness, writing that Donald Trump criticized the idea of presidential vacations. His Scotland trip was built all around golf. And that's what people all around New England read all this weekend, that Donald Trump went to golf at his golf course in Scotland. The Boston Globe covered a round of golf instead of a historic tariff deal. It was the same thing with the Washington Post. Trump plays golf in Scotland while protesters take to the streets. Protesters take to the streets, Washington Post. Does anybody care that there were protesters on some street in Scotland? They're covering this like no president has ever played golf before. And because of that, we're going to do this. We want to show you something. Again, the differences between how Joe Biden spent his time away on vacation and how Donald Trump spends his time away. This was not a vacation. The video that you're looking at right now is from 1 year ago this week, and that is Joe Biden splayed out on a beach chair in Delaware, very literally a metaphor for his entire presidency. Pathetic. And now we want you to compare that to Donald Trump 52 weeks later. Yes, Donald Trump did play golf. He likes golf. Many presidents like golf. He's a good golfer. I've seen him golf. I've never played with him, but I've seen him. After he played golf, though, Donald Trump went to the locker room and he took a shower and he used some body wash and maybe some Pantene Pro V 2-in-1. We don't know. And then he put a suit on and he went back to work. Not only making a deal on tariffs, but welcoming the British Prime Minister to his club in Scotland. Do you ever remember Joe Biden doing anything like that when he was at his beach house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware? Do you ever remember Joe putting on an apron and the little hat, the little white cook hat, and having a cookout on his deck with foreign leaders or senators or congressmen or Democrats or anybody? No, you don't, because it never happened. This is what Joe did when he went on vacation. Joe, hello, Joe. And sadly, what most people remember from Joe Biden visiting the beach, besides sleeping on the beach, of course, is this. It's Joe Biden falling off a bike. And you wonder why Putin attacked Ukraine. You wonder why Hamas attacked Israel. Joe Biden was very literally the opposite of peace through strength. It was peace through nothing, peace through Biden. He was the opposite of America first. He was asleep at the wheel when it mattered the most. But Democrats, for some very odd reason, maybe these just aren't bright people, they still think rooting against America is the way to win over Americans. It is not. That's absurd.
Let's take a look at Dems, and let's look at their net favorable ratings. Whoa, woof. I mean, my God. You know, we mentioned CNN. We had that poll come out a little while ago on their net favorable rating. They were 26 points underwater. You think that's low enough? How about we go even lower? We'll go to this side of the screen. I'm going to walk over here. We go to the Wall Street Journal, minus 30 points underwater. Their lowest on record. These polls have records going all the way back since the early 1990s.
The Wall Street Journal came out with a poll that's getting a lot of attention. 1,500 registered voters who gave Democrats a 33% approval rating. 63% of voters had an unfavorable opinion of the Democratic Party. Think about that. That's the highest since George H.W. Bush was president in 1990. It is so bad for Democrats that only 8% of people have a favorable opinion of the Democratic Party. Think about people that you know that voted for Kamala in November. 8%, that's 8 out of 100, have a very favorable opinion of their own party. And you just don't win elections with numbers like that. If the midterms were tomorrow, Republicans would win seats in the Senate and they would keep the House. And we think this is going to happen and continue to happen because when you lie to people and when you root against your own country, when you are chronically negative, when you cover the news like this, your voters are going to be negative right back.
Donald Trump announced a new trade deal with the European Union. It will result in a $90 billion per year tax hike. Donald Trump always lies, almost always lies about his accomplishments.
We're in a car driven by somebody who is blackout drunk.
This is not Liberation Day in America, it's Recession Day, because Donald Trump's reckless policies are driving us toward a painful recession.
Democrats, the definition of insanity, they just continue to do the same thing, hoping for a different result. Donald Trump is not. Donald Trump is taking action, and it's registering with the American people.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.